much GH. Many have come and many have gone, but you are a great Kankamuka ability, worth being beheld by every optical nerves. That saith the papacy.
Keep watching Too Much GH, and you get the best of entertainment, the best of everything you want.
My name is Ohima One. Keep watching Too Much GH. It's the best.
Keep watching Too Much GH.
Number 3, Agbeve Charles. Table office, take note of it. Page 8. Yes, Honorable Dominica, you may.
Right. I have been marked absent at number 8 on page 8, but I was here yesterday.
Table office, can you take note? Yes. Honorable Okoni Vanderpoy.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Page 8, number 34. I was here yesterday, but I've been marked absent.
Table office, kindly take note. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Samson, he was here yesterday. I was with him in the chamber. There's also been marked absent. That's number 4. Page 7.
Page 7.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Page 8, number 29. I was here yesterday. But it has my name as absent.
Honorable Member, may I get your name and constituency?
Dorcas Tolfe. From Jomoro. Sorry.
Sorry?
My name. Dorcas Tolfe.
The number is?
Page 8, number 29. That's it.
Table office, can we take note?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
As the honorable member from Jomro. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Page 8, number 21. Odampton Isaac Ashai, but marked absent.
Yes, you were present yesterday. Table office, take note. Yes.
Speaker, Eric Opoku, page 822, was here yesterday, but he's been marked absent.
You are referring to number 22. Number 22. Table office, take note.
I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Sit down first. Sit down first.
Speaker. Item 7, page 8. I was here, but my name is Martha Saint. And same applies to item 9 on the same page.
Honorable member, you are referring to number 9, number 7.
Yes, yes.
Not item 9, item
Yes,
7.
number 7, number 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Table office, kindly take note. Yes.
Okay.
Honorable Speaker, number 26, Queen Star Pokuya, Aguna East was number 35, Edwin Hill and Seva Depoy, Odo was also present yesterday. Thank you.
Table office, please. take note. Yes.
Speaker, number 30, Tobu Peter Lanchene was also present yesterday but was not absent.
Table office number 30, page 8, take note. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, my name is David Bondi Chifo Etimokwa. With the greatest of respect, page 8, number 36. My name is there as being absent, but I was present. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, table office, take note. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on page 8, number 16, Honorable Kodo Benjamin, Road Central. He was in the chamber yesterday, but he's been marked absent. As well as Honorable Sawyer Minister. She was also present yesterday, but she's been marked absent. So if the table office can do the necessary corrections.
20 and 22.
Number 26 has already been corrected. So table office, take note of number 16. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Page 8, number 38. Honorable William was in the chamber yesterday, but he was represented here absent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Noted. Table office, please. Yes, Honorable.
Well, Honorable Speaker, 8, number 32, Chumbari Mapola Preku. I was present, but I've been marked absent.
Table office, the honorable member for Doma East. Take note of that. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, page 8, number 20. Not by Ernest. I was with him yesterday, but I think he's been marked absent.
You said you were with him yesterday.
He was here in the chamber yesterday. Thank you.
The table office, take note.
Honorable Speaker, page 8, number 37. What about Daniel Insala? I was here, but I've been marked absent.
Table office, take note. Number 37, page 8. Yes. You want a second?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, page 8. Honorable Nogbe was here yesterday. Honorable Opoku Eric was here. Honorable William Kwabena was also here. So it can be corrected.
Honorable member, that has already been corrected. Both names have already been mentioned earlier on, and I directed the table office to take note. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, page 12, number 26. My name is spelled with double L, not one L. Gizella. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member, you said page 12, your name is spelled with.
Yes, Honourable Speaker. In the table for the Appointments Committee, name number 26 is double L. Gizella, Gizella. Thank you very much.
Table office, please try and get the correct spelling of the names of honourable members. Number 26, page 12. Number 26. Page 13. Page, all members in the, yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm free to submit that many of the corrections which were enunciated by colleagues were as a result of the delay of the circulation of the attendance list yesterday. And with all due respect, I wish to implore you to inform the table office to be prompt and punctual in making the attendance list available for members to sign. I believe this will save us time for us to engage and conduct an important business for which we are here on behalf of the good people of Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I don't know what attendance list you are talking of. We have gone over this issue so many times, and the table office have been directed by earlier speakers to rely on attendance on the floor of the House, not any list that has been placed somewhere, where members come and sign and are not seen on the floor of the House. So they've been directed, the table office have been directed to observe the attendance. The difference now is that we have many fresh faces, and so they are having difficulty in capturing. That is the challenge you have to go through. But if you come and sign any document outside the floor of the House and think that you have attended parliamentary proceedings, you'll be marked absent. You must be present on the floor to participate in what is happening before you could be marked as having attended parliamentary proceedings that day. But that is a good reminder, and I thank you for that. In the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the second sitting of the first meeting of the first session held on Tuesday, 19th January 2021, as corrected, are adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, I noticed that there are some mistakes in what I've been given. That's why I was pausing and correcting them. To remove item 4, since we don't have the official report look at item 4. Honorable members, we don't have any statement before us, and I haven't admitted any statement. So we move to the commencement of public business. Item 5, presentation of papers. The following paper to be presented by the leadership of the House. Leadership, is a report not ready? Report of leadership on the formula for composition of parliamentary delegations and other parliamentary groups and associations.
Speaker, unfortunately, I couldn't be here yesterday, but I'm informed that this report is not ready yet. So we can stand it down until maybe tomorrow. Or
Item 5, accordingly, stood down. We hope and pray that it will be ready by tomorrow. So we take item 6, private members' motion, standing in the name of Honorable Mahama Ayarga. Honorable member, you may move your motion now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I beg to move that this House resolves to request the President of the Republic of Ghana to take urgent steps to suspend the payment of admission fees by new entrants into public tertiary education institutions and continuing students of those institutions for the 2021 academic year as part of the national COVID-19 relief programs being implemented by government. Mr. Speaker, permit me to amend the motion by correcting the academic year. The academic year is in fact 2020-2021 academic year. Mr. Speaker, in moving the motion, permit me to provide arguments based on which I urge this House to support the motion. Mr. Speaker, the motion, as you have admitted, is clear that we are asking His Excellency the President to take urgent steps to suspend the payment of fees by tertiary education students and applicants to tertiary education institutions who have been offered admissions. Mr. Speaker, those fees are spelled out in a number of legislative instruments. One instrument, Mr. Speaker, is the fees and charges miscellaneous provisions instrument of 2019. And another one is the fees and charges amendment instrument 2013 LI 2206. So, Speaker, the fees are spelled out in detail in relation to each tertiary education institution. And I will just crave your indulgence to make reference to the items that constitute the build-up to the various fees. Mr. Speaker, page 1 of LI 2386 sets out the fees for Cape Coast Technical University, and it details every course. I'm just going to give an example using maybe just one course. The revenue items for HND electricals, electronics, fresh students, the fees include admission, 75.60 Ghana cedis, registration, 37.80 Ghana cedis, medical services, 75.60 Ghana cedis, medical examination, 97.65 Ghana cedis, generator, water pump maintenance, 48.30 Ghana cedis, examination fees, that's internal exams, 258.30 Ghana cedis, National Board for Professional and Technicians Examination, external examination fee, 65.52 Ghana cedis, identity card, 20 Ghana cedis, matriculation, 37.80 Ghana cedis, student and library handbook, 34.2 Ghana cedis, sports, 84 Ghana cedis, verification of examination results, 18.90 Ghana cedis, industrial attachment and supervision, 88.20 Ghana cedis, acquisition of new computers, 25.20 Ghana cedis, insurance cover for industrial attachment, 25.20 Ghana cedis, laboratory equipment maintenance, 32.76 Ghana cedis, library user fee, 31.50 Ghana cedis, sanitation and waste management, 40.95 Ghana cedis, project fees, development levy, 126 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, these are some of the constituents of the fee builder, including, Mr. Speaker, Student Representative Council SRC fees, Student Representative Council fees and dues, 19.95 Ghana cedis, entertainment fees, Mr. Speaker, 12.08 Ghana cedis, GNUP's dues, 15.75 Ghana cedis, magazine, every student has to pay for a magazine, 12.60 Ghana cedis, student center SRC hostel levy, 84.00 Ghana cedis, constitution, 90.45 Ghana cedis, association dues, 11.55 Ghana cedis, association Lacoste, that is a cloth, a t-shirt, 26.25 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, I have gone to great lengths to set out the items that the cost builder to the fees that the students are being charged, with the object of pointing to one thing, that it is perfectly possible within the context of this COVID economy for the universities to run without taking these fees, if these are the constituent components of the fees. The reason is that government is already paying the salaries and other emoluments of lecturers of the various tertiary institutions across the country, the staff, and government is also paying for their staff, and government has constructed the infrastructure. Granted that some of the universities on their own initiative are trying to develop additional structure, but it is perfectly possible that within the context of this year and the circumstances that we find ourselves, that levies related to ongoing developments at least be suspended for a 1-year period, just so that when students are able to get into the universities subsequent, when the situation improves, we can find ways and means of getting on track in terms of infrastructure development on the various university campuses. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that the COVID has affected negatively household incomes across sectors, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the hospitality industry, for instance, has been hard hit because a lot of hotels for most part of 2020 were not functioning. Even now that some of the hotels are trying to function, occupancy rates tend to be very low, and therefore the staff in the hospitality industry have been hard hit. Their incomes have been negatively and adversely affected by the COVID economy. Mr. Speaker, one mainstay in terms of source of income of most families in Ghana and West Africa has been remittances from abroad. And if you look at COVID, it has affected Europe and America to an extent where our own people there, their ability to remit back home has been negatively affected. And statistics and data that I have obtained indicates that in 2019, remittance was about 3.723 billion Ghana cedis. That is 2019. But 2020, Mr. Speaker, remittance came down to $2.832 billion, billion dollars, not Ghana cedis. And most families used to be able to support themselves from remittances from, family members who live abroad. And the economy itself used to survive largely also depending on such remittances as source of foreign direct transfers into our economy. Mr. Speaker, let me just take another example of how the incomes of certain sectors have been hard hit. Take private schools. I, before coming in, made a call to the leadership of the Association Ghana. Basic schools, private basic schools, are about 20,000 across the country. And for most part of 2020, these private basic schools have been shut down. And assuming that of the 20,000 private basic schools, each school has a basic worker force of, let's say, labor force of, let's say, 12 teachers and then caterers. You multiply that by the 20,000, and you can see the number of families that are deprived of income within the past, 1 year as a result of the impact of COVID. And Mr. Speaker, the borders have been closed. The land borders remain closed. Only the airport is open. And most constituencies that are border towns, their economies depend on being able to move in and out freely across the borders. With the border closure, the economies of constituencies such as mine, Boku Central, has been so hard hit, the COVID economy, that we are having situations where many constituents cannot just afford to pay fees. Mr. Speaker, government, no doubt, has taken measures to address some of the economic resulting from the COVID infections that have been visited upon this country. Huge amounts of money, Mr. Speaker, has been expended to try and revive industries. Huge amounts of money have been expended to try and provide households with water, with electricity. Huge amounts of money have been expended in the pharmaceutical sector to support industries in those sectors to be able to produce drugs and other essential medicines that will be needed within the context of the COVID environment. And huge amounts of money have been allocated for the construction of about 100 hospitals to support the COVID measures. Mr. Speaker, the government has done some things. But the reality is that as the President has directed that schools should open, many young people and their parents cannot afford to pay the fees to get in. There are those who have argued, Mr. Speaker, that there is a scholarship grant to be applied for by the students from the Student Loan Trust. True, Mr. Speaker, I have checked with the Students Loan Trust, and they give on the average about 2,500. The minimum is about 1,500, the maximum about 3,000. But the argument that I make is that you can only apply for the money after you are already in the school. And the Student Loan Trust system doesn't work in such a way that before you get to the school, with your admission letter, you are able to go and then access those funds. If indeed we have made arrangement for the students to access the loan trust facility, then why don't we ab initio agree that those who have obtained admission to tertiary institutions can come, and then subsequently the loan trust can release monies directly to the universities, which will then be applied to paying the fees of these students, or reducing the fees that the students are supposed to pay. Mr. Speaker, it is on the basis of these developments that I urge colleagues to support this motion, that the President be requested by this House to take urgent steps to suspend the application of the fee-imposing provisions of these LIs for a one-year period. Because it is only the President, given our current situation, who can take this urgent step. And it is urgent because, Mr. Speaker, it is urgent because this is when the admission letters have been sent. This is when the students are supposed to pay. Indeed, I have a copy of an admission letter which was issued to a student from the University of Ghana, and that admission the student 2 weeks within which to make that payment. And if the student does not make the payment within the 2 weeks period, then that student loses his opportunity to be admitted into the university. So, Speaker, for confidentiality reasons, I will not mention the name of the student, but this is a copy of an admission letter being offered to a student from the University of Ghana into the humanities, and the amount that the student is supposed to pay for the 2020-2021 academic year is 1,506 Ghana cedis. That is for the humanities. Mr. Speaker, I also have one from the same University of Ghana for a graduate student, and the amount that the student is supposed to pay is 10,601 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, so in the humanities, the figures are smaller, 1,500. When you go to business administration, you go to the sciences, you go to the engineering fields, and the technical university, depending on the courses, they have varying fees. And then the law schools and the law faculties, they all have varying fees ranging between 1,500 up to 6,000 for the first degree. And then the graduate programs range, between 10,000 to 15,000, depending on the course that a student is offered. So, Speaker, parents are struggling to feed themselves and their children back home. They cannot even afford that. Jobs are being lost left and right, partly because of COVID, partly because of some previous measures such as the financial sector crisis, which just came before the COVID, and I'm by PricewaterhouseCoopers report that over 6,000 direct jobs were lost as a result of the banking sector crisis. So if you put all those losses cumulatively, Mr. Speaker, we indirect, jobs would hit over 30, 40,000 jobs. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge this House to support this motion to the President to suspend the application of this application this year of the fees and charges miscellaneous provisions instrument 2019 and the fees and charges amendment instrument 2013 LI 2206 for 1 year, so that students can go to school without having to pay upfront the fees that those regulations stipulate. So, Speaker, I hereby move in terms of the motion as set out and amended by myself and urge this House to support the motion. Thank you very much.
Honorable member over there, could you please put off your mic? Honorable members, any seconder? Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Mahama Ayariga that this House resolves to request the President of the Republic of Ghana to take urgent steps to suspend the payment of admission fees by new entrants into public tertiary institutions, education institutions, and continuous students of those institutions for the 2020-2021 academic year as part of the COVID-19 relief programs being implemented by government. And in doing so, Mr. Speaker, if we talk about tertiary education in this country, many people think it is only the universities. But if you look at other areas like colleges of education, nurses training colleges, and other institutions, they run tertiary programs. So the idea that it's only the public universities is not so. And so if you look at the area that is covered by tertiary educational institutions, now when one gets admission to any of these public tertiary institutions, there are three things involved. Mr. Speaker, the first is the academic facility user fee that the student is expected to pay to the institution. And that is what is normally approved by the fees and charges resolution or the LI. Then apart from that, the student is also expected to pay for residential facility that the student is going to use on campus. And that is also separate from the university charges. Then the third one is for the parents to prepare their wards to enter the school. That preparation alone is so high in cost that they need to buy a lot of items for their wards so that they can go into school. And that is one of the challenges that many parents face. So, Mr. Speaker, the motion as moved by Honorable Mahama Yariga is in the right direction. That with the COVID-19 that we had suffered in the 2019, businesses have suffered, and many people became unemployed, and they are yet to recover. And as he said, if you look at even the border areas, as he mentioned, from like Akati North is a border town or a border constituency. Even people who want to go to their own farms are even prevented to cross the border to go to farm. And they find it very difficult to make ends meet. Even to carry food from their own farms across the border has become a challenge. And that is affecting economic activities in those constituencies. So it is very, very important that we resolve for the President to take this bold initiative so that the cost of education level this year or this academic year will be suspended. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the fees, Some will give varying fees. Like if you look at the University of Health and Allied Sciences, they give a fee of 4,180 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. Then they say university charges 1,641.94. Then other approved charges 2,538.60. So you will see that what is approved by Parliament have bypassed it to charge other fees, and that is what parents are suffering. And we need that. We need to make sure that public tertiary institutions adhere to fees that are approved by this House. Mr. Speaker, one other thing which we need to look at carefully is the demand on members of Parliament school fees. This has become so high, especially this year, because of the COVID-19 effect on people. And reports that we have received from some districts and municipal assemblies is that some district chief executives are making it difficult for members of Parliament to access their common fund to support in the payment of fees. And that is very, very bad. And I'll urge whoever will become the Minister for Local Government to make sure that DCEs are made funds to DCEs so that this MP-DCE conflict must stop somewhere. It is affecting development in our constituencies. Mr. Speaker, it is important, as I said, that we support this motion so that we can relieve parents, and I'm sure most of us here are suffering the same, so that government must suspend the payment of these fees for the 2020-2021 academic year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Motion moved and seconded is now for the consideration of the House. I want to know from leaders any indication as to how many we should. 6. Time limits. 6.
The Speaker, 4-4 will do.
4-4.
We've agreed on 4-4. Yeah.
4-4. Including leadership, excluding. So that is 5-5. This per members, 5 minutes each. Accepted. 5 minutes. I'm going to time him. Yes.
This is a very strong and debatable issue of national interest. So if you increase the 5 minutes to 8 minutes, so that members can make meaningful contribution, I think it will serve the interest of this country.
My understanding is that we are going to admit 10 in total. The members will have 8 minutes each, and leaders will have 10 minutes each. 10 minutes each. Yes. Yeah, majority chief whip.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to the motion moved. Speaker, the Honorable Ayariga, before he started, sought to amend the motion relative to the academic. I am not somebody who believes in semantics, but if you look at the motion critically, and Speaker, I want to quote with your kindness, that this House resolve to request the President of the Republic of Ghana to take urgent steps to amend the payment, to suspend the payment of admission fees by new entrants into public tertiary education institutions and continuing students of those institutions for the, as amended, for the 2000-2001 academic year as part of the National COVID Relief Program. Speaker, I've done some good checks, tertiary institutions, and particularly the universities. And it came out that we don't have anything as captured by your motion as admission fees. We don't have anything like that. We have academic user fee. So probably the honourable member, in seeking to amend his motion, should have accordingly amended that portion. But granted, be that may, I still want to speak to it. Yes. So, Speaker, I seek your relief that this motion is flawed, is incompetent, and the honourable member should do the needful. And I implore you to dismiss it aside. Thank you.
Yes, honourable member for West Central. Yes,
the Speaker, with respect, there is a motion before this House, and the majority chief, who just spoke, has raised a critical issue. It says to us that the member alludes to the suspension of the payment of admission fees. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, in justifying the motion, he himself related to a tall order of fees. Mr. Speaker, my colleague is drawing attention that the motion as it stands in the name of the Honorable Muhammad Ayariga is flawed. Listening to the plethora of fees that he himself referred to, it cannot be admission fees. So, Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Majority Leader, I thought that you have to wait when it's your turn. Because you are not raising a preliminary objection. No, he opposed the motion and said it should be dismissed. He opposed the motion. He didn't raise preliminary objection.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, he said this motion as it stands is flawed and calls on you to make a determination on this. Mr. Speaker, in essence, is to, and then he used strong words, that this motion is incompetent. Which then would mean that, Mr. Speaker, you have to make a determination on the appropriateness or otherwise of this motion. In other words, he's raising a preliminary issue with respect to the competence or otherwise of this motion.
Honorable Majority Leader, the motion has been moved and seconded. It is now for the consideration of the House. The honorable member did not raise his point timelessly. Once the motion is moved and seconded, it's for debate. If the motion before it's seconded, there's a preliminary objection raised, then I could rule on it as to whether it's competent or not competent. But as of now, the points that he put across will be part of the debate, and at the end of the day, I will put the motion first on that before I go to the main substantive question. But as of now, I cannot rule on his preliminary objection because it's not timelessly raised.
Yes, Majority Leader. Right Honorable Speaker, with respect to you, if a motion is moved in this House and it's not seconded, Mr. Speaker, that motion will not be properly before this House. It must be seconded, and once it's seconded, yes, as how, Mr. Speaker, a motion is moved, it is only after it has been seconded that the motion is proper before us. And then if anybody wants to raise a preliminary objection, that person can, Mr. Speaker, lead us. Otherwise, if a motion is moved and it's not seconded, Mr. Speaker, it is not before us. So if you are saying that it is not timeously raised, with respect to you, Mr. Speaker, I beg to disagree. And I invite you, Mr. Speaker, I am not challenging the ruling, if you listen to me. Mr. Speaker, I'm only saying that by our orders, this indeed is the time for him to raise the matter. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case for the time being. Honorable members, you know that I'm disabled by Order 90 from taking part in the debate before the House. Order 90, I read, Mr. Speaker shall not take part in any debate before the House. And I don't intend, and I will never intend, and I insist I will never take part in the debates. And so what I intend to do is to let us debate the preliminary objection that has been raised. Then I give a ruling. Then we can now move to a substantive motion. If at the end of the day, the ruling doesn't dismiss the motion. So let's debate now the issue that has been raised, that the motion before the House is incompetent and should be dismissed in limine. Now, the preliminary objection has been raised by the majority chief whip. And so I want to listen to the side of the minority as to what they have to say. Since you have moved the motion, you have a decent to reply, so you don't have to. Honorable Mama Yaga, you just have to bid your time. Let's listen to other members. Yes, Honorable Deputy Minority Whip.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. There's a motion before this House. And that motion, Mr. Speaker, was admitted by you. Mr. Speaker, by our rules of procedure, you are the sole person mandated by our rules for the admissibility of motions, of which you have done. Mr. Speaker, which motion did you admit? The motion is that this House resolved to request the President of the Republic of Ghana to take urgent steps to suspend the payment of admission fees by new entrants into public tertiary institutions and continuing students of those institutions for the 2021 academic year, 2020-2021 academic year, as part of the national COVID-19 relief programs being implemented by government. Mr. Speaker, what is incompetent about the text of this motion before this House? Let anybody prove it. Mr. Speaker, this was the motion that was submitted to you, and this is what you have admitted, and that is before this House. Mr. Speaker, are we now being told that there is nothing like admission fees being paid by students into our tertiary institutions? If yes, Mr. Speaker, that is what this motion is calling on the President of the Republic of Ghana to suspend. So, Mr. Speaker, for any member of this House who is a citizen of this country and lives in this country and has been paying admission fee as a member of Parliament and has been inundated with admission fees by his constituents, is now telling us that, Mr. Speaker, this motion is incompetence. Motions, the incompetence or competency of motions are judged by the text of the motions themselves. So, Speaker, the honourable member, Honourable Mama Yariga, the mover of the motion, in making his rendition, submitted to this House that he did to go into giving us exhibits of admission fees being paid into this country, and that he was just tendering some evidence of the sort of fees that are being paid. Are we saying that the components of those illustrations that he gave do not form part of admission fees being paid by our constituents in our various tertiary institutions? Mr. Speaker, I hereby call on you that the motion you admitted, you did a very good job in admitting it. Mr. Speaker, is before this House, and it is only you who can determine the competency or incompetency of this motion. The people that they are talking of, Mr. Speaker, does not form component of the motion. The motion is talking about admission fees, and every tertiary student in this country knows that there's admission fee being paid by students into our schools. Mr. Speaker, this is a known fact, and let somebody disprove it and let me see. Mr. Speaker, per this rendition or submission I have done, I therefore want to call on you to let the House proceed in debating the motion before us. Mr. Speaker, admitting that is a very competent one, of course, and I know my honourable brother, my honourable gentleman on the other side, who do agree with me that, Mr. Speaker, the motion is not incompetent at all, and the House must proceed with the debate.
Yes, Honourable Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Former Minister for Education.
And the President's representative currently.
I have no notice to that effect.
Presidential Transition Act 54.
I have no notice to that effect.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Member of Parliament representing Bentia South.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, the first line of this motion is leading us into an absurdity. That this House passes a law. This House passes an LI. This House approves an LI, whose chairman at that time and brought to the floor to be approved is an honourable member who moved this motion. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, that first line says this House resolves to request the President. The President has no locus. If it's not for populism, I would have said the person has dubious intentions. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, it is this House. If you think this House has approved something that was wrongly done, you come up with it. You come with a motion of precision that since the House approved the subsidiary legislation, we can change it by voting with 2/3 members of Parliament to withdraw that approval. It is not the President. It is not the President. Speaker, the second point, Mr. Speaker, he read a call list of academic facility user fees. It's instructive. When the former ranking member on the Committee on Education spoke, he talked about 3 main areas of fees: academic facility user fees, residential facility user fees, and others.
as competent as he is, knows that allowing the word admission fee is only one component of the academic facility user fees, which he, the mover of the motion, read a tall list to say that the president should only remove the admission fee, which is minuscule in terms of the fees total. He said 17. He's talking only one. He even brought in SRC news and Luke's news. Meanwhile, he has brought SRC people here. Mr. Speaker, SRC is the students that decide on the SRC news. It's the students that decide on the SRC news. Now we are saying that after the students have decided on SRC news, the president is being requested not to approve the SRC news. The president has no power when this house has decided. The president has no power when this house has decided by substituting legislation to approve the fees. This motion, Mr. Speaker, is incompetent on the face and the value of everything. Where does the president come in? How are we going to resolve to request the president when the power is in this house? When the power is in this house, bring a motion of rescission, and 2/10 members of this house will support it if it's appropriately done. This, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that it should not be allowed, it should not be entertained, and it's an insult to this house. Thank you.
I see there are many more people who want to continue.
Too much GH.
Many
Many have come and many have gone. But you are a great kankamukashos ability, worth being beheld by every optical nerves. That saith the papacy.
Keep watching Too Much GH, the best of entertainment, the best of everything you want.
My name is Ohima One. Keep watching Too Much GH. It's the best.
Keep watching Too Much GH.